Hello everyone, welcome to AKS IAS. So guys, it's been 3 days from your prelims, and by this time you would have done lot of research by yourself upon the questions and all. But I would like to take this as an opportunity to explain from a faculty's point of view how exactly questions are coming, and there are some confusions in some questions. So we'll be trying to discuss logically about them, and let us see what UPSC is also going to give the key for that. And at AKS IAS, we have new batch for prelims come mains, and for those students who are on an average, let me just try to say each one have their own cutoffs. I know you will be really interested to know about this, but as it's been 2 to 3 days, different students who had really performed well in paper 1, whomever we spoke, CSAT is really tough for them, and number of aspirants who are clearing CSAT is very, very less. One of the main reason is, as you people might have experienced in CSAT, the max topics or quant and reasoning took a lot of time and students wasted. They could not spend much time on English. And English, you never know what is right and what is wrong. So given these things, many people feel they are at the edge with respect to CSAT. But on an average, the scores of this year, will be less than 100 itself. It won't go beyond 100. And maybe 1 or 2 marks more than last year cutoff. So forget about whatever you had done. Just start your mains preparation, because till the time you wait, right, thinking that yes, I have to prepare for next year or I have to prepare for mains. These 3 months must be dedicated for mains at any cost. So whether it is your optionals, whether it is your GS, AKS IAS is giving the entire mentorship for mains free of cost. We realize that students, when they have this cost and other things, they don't know how to utilize them. So we thought to channelize them properly. For different subjects, we have different faculties. All these faculties are expertise in their own fields, and they will try to guide you throughout this 3 to 4 months, so that you can try to write answers and score it, or either improve your scores. So results came recently, and you might have spoken or you might have heard about the toppers. Each one has different strategies. So coming to your own strategy, try to chart it with the help of faculties, where AKS IAS wants to handhold you here and help you out by meeting different subject expertise and also getting it evaluated. You will definitely see the change once you start writing answers and the guidance and all. So you're not wasting any money, because it's completely free of cost. You can trust the quality completely. And then coming to the questions, right? I'll be discussing first geography, and later I will be discussing about international relations as well. So guys, first thing about the paper was really it was very good for a student who know the basics. This was not meant for people who by heart and write. By fluke, if you clear, that's different, but if you really have some conceptual clarity, and if you had frequently asked yourself why am I reading this, so it feels good. And unlike previous years where a lot of factual data was there, even we faculties used to feel from where is UPSC picking the questions. But from last 1 or 2 years, and even this year, when we look, the questions are really amazing, and the students who have good conceptual clarity of what exactly is happening and why exactly this is happening, that is helping them to crack. And see, for every question, there is a solution also, application also, as another question. So for most of the questions, whatever you see in one part, in the other part the solution is also being mentioned. The sources which we are all giving is different, But actual source which UPSC would have taken is on the basis of the issues. It is not merely on the basis of some random book being taken and picking up some questions which we thought used to happen before. But this year specifically, when we look at the questions, they're all amazing. Especially I'm using this term mainly because you feel good that they have asked something which is conceptual. People who use it to prepare with the help of some shortcuts, just take few books, by heart them, clear, no, not possible. Until and unless you have that clarity. Fine. And guys, the Hindu newspaper even today plays a very, very important role. I keep telling to students, if at all you give me Hindu newspaper today, right, even after teaching for so many years and reading the newspaper for so many years, I still take 2.5 to 3 hours to understand and analyze the paper properly. The reason for that is the depth in which you understand a particular concept. Because once I understand economy, once I understand polity, once I understand geography, the depth to which I try to read and understand the concepts, every line becomes important for me. And I try to analyze how it is being worked with the help of the static things. So if we take so much time, how much time you people should be taking to read the newspaper once you complete all the subjects? In the beginning, you take less time because you won't be understanding much. So spoon feeding wherever it is happening, right? If the depth of the topics are not being cleared easily, the questions are really difficult, guys. So let me show you how the questions are being asked and what is the main source and why is it important for India and also for a bureaucrat. So the first question, if you see, it is about the anthropogenic source of methane and nitrous oxide. Six. When we talk about climate change, we all are aware that climate change is a very, very important concept. And a lot of questions come about climate change. This is an application of climate change, and there are two important things. In India, thermal energy or industries mostly, they emit more carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases. But the second most important thing is agriculture. And in agriculture, one of the major contributor is rice, paddy cultivation. People like Trump, Bush and all, they use it to criticize India that the amount of greenhouse gases released from the paddy fields of China and India is a lot more than what we are producing. And India is being constantly criticized externally, especially India and China, for methane output. We are taking several measures to reduce industrial emissions. But with respect to rice, it was very, very difficult. Paddy fields where water is stagnant, we normally observe anaerobic. And in the class, I have clearly told you, when carbon dioxide is burnt in the presence of oxygen, you get CO2. Under water or any other areas where you have less oxygen, you get methane. So it can be both rice and sugarcane to some extent because water is stagnant. And when we talk about nitrous oxide, the excessive use of fertilizers for rice is considered to be the most predominant factor for emission of nitrous oxide. So, rice is the number one answer. Fine. Sugarcane has less intensity compared to rice. The main reason for this is, when do we call something to be a pollutant, greenhouse gas? You have two types. One is qualitative, another one is quantitative. So carbon dioxide, or when we call about methane and nitrous oxide, these are quantitative pollutants. And anything becomes a quantitative pollutant only when it emits beyond a particular point. Because you take methane, animals emit, cow dung, many things emit. But is it enough? The quantity that is coming out of it, is it enough to call it as a pollutant? So rice cultivation is more, because of which you normally see that a quantitative pollutant, methane and nitrous oxide, is released from rice. See the clarity with which you have to answer. If you properly check, even sugarcane releases methane because in most parts water is stagnant. But in some parts, sugarcane can be cultivated without that as well. And when it comes to nitrous oxide, yes, it releases, but not enough when it comes to rice. Fine? So this is another important factor. Now, the problem is what? Rice cultivation. And in rice cultivation, what is the problem? Two things. One, excessive use of fertilizers. Second, stagnant water. Right? Stagnant water throughout. So, our scientists are working. You might have heard about IPCC, mitigation strategies. Right? In all those, people, to come out of paddy cultivation, they have moved towards a system of rice intensification. And in this system of rice intensification, what do? They go for alternative wetting and drying. So they give water when water is required. See the beauty. Here science comes into picture. Rather than having water throughout, whenever the plant requires enough water, they are providing the water and then they dry it. Again, when they want, they flood it. So what is happening? Alternative wetting and drying is happening in the process of rice intensification. Niti Aayog was actually talking about water efficiency, how to increase water efficiency. And one thing what everyone were thinking was, can we really go for this? And people were telling that if you want to prevent flood irrigation for rice, what is the alternative? Is it drip irrigation? Yes, drip irrigation is possible, but sometimes paddy fields require more water and sometimes less water can be done. So alternatively, we are going for this. Now, because of this, what is happening? The seed consumption will be reduced by 60 to 70%. Methane production is reduced. Why? Because stagnant water will not be there throughout. Whenever stagnant water is there, methane is produced. When it's not there, it's not produced. So yes, it reduces. Reduced electricity consumption. Why? Because to ensure you have full water, you need to keep on pumping, because India is a tropical country where evaporation losses will be there and continuous supply is required. Here, not you are not reducing huge, but yes, it is reduced. So, for the problem, this is the solution. Two questions from a same paper. These are all articles published where government is trying to talk about this specific aspect. Again, coming to climate change, in Hindu and other articles, you keep getting about certain examples of different lakes which are being affected due to climate change. And in Mali region, Lake Fagubin is considered to be the one which is becoming a desert almost. Fine? So, yeah. So guys, Gandikota Canyon of South India was created by which one of the following rivers? This is a very, very important canyon because they call it as Grand Canyon. And if you look at the pictures of these, they look almost similar to what you see in US and other parts. So the Pennar River. Then guys, you see this. Nokrek is in Meghalaya. So this is wrong. Namcha Barwa is near Arunachal Pradesh. This is Uttarakhand, is known as Garhwal Himalayas. So this is also wrong. Nanda Devi is Kumaun Himalayas. This is right. So 2 only is. We have seen this in biosphere reserves. If you had attended those sessions, it would be easier. This also we have seen in Arunachal Pradesh, which is known as Arunachal Himalayas, not Garhwal Himalayas. So, map based. Okay. Guys, this, I'll tell you the beauty. Earlier, you had ISIS. Now it is called as ISIL. Islamic State in Iraq and Levant. 4 times in the last 10 years, UPSC has asked a question on this. Earlier, they asked the question, which countries has border with Mediterranean Sea? 2 times they asked this before. And this year, they have asked a question on what exactly do you understand by Levant countries? So, the countries of Asia which has border with Mediterranean Sea is called as Levant countries. ISIL. Right? So, direct question from the book which we normally discuss. So, that's why guys, what happens when you listen to classes, you should have the clarity. What is changing? Right? This is directly from your geography through maps. I told you when everyone is worried about what Putin is doing, we all have forgotten about Afghanistan. And in that I clearly mentioned that it's very, very important for you to check the countries which has border with Afghanistan. And even if you guys are aware that Azerbaijan doesn't have, then this is the answer. So even for 10-15 minutes, if you could have spent time in analyzing these, it would have been easier. Yeah. So many people are telling that elimination techniques are not working, because 1 pair only, 2 pairs only, these type of things have come true. But still, UPSC has given you enough opportunity to ensure that you get correct answers. 3-4 questions were in that manner, but few you would be able to do if you are able to go with certain keywords. Now, in class notes, under resources oceanography, I have clearly dictated about monazite sand, but let me just tell you here. See, monazite occurs naturally in the entire Indian coastal sands in India. I have asked my team to upload that video where I have clearly mentioned in the class that UPSC may give you a statement that entire Indian coast, all the coasts wrong, Coromandel coast and Malabar coast. If you can remove this, this is the only option you have. See, this is where we tell people come to conclusions. You do 1 or 2 mistakes and you come to conclusion UPSC is behaving like this. And in next year what happens? Every institution will start giving 1 pair is correct, 2 pair is correct, 3 pair is correct because they follow the trend. But trying to tell you, yes, that is important, but learn these techniques as well, because every time at least few questions you will have edge over others. Okay, this is a direct question, guys. This is June 21st. This is from 6th standard NCERT book. And in the class, I have taught you multiple times under rotation and revolution. Second half of the month of June. Consider the following states. Okay, see guys, here I may be right or I may be wrong. So it is purely on the basis of your luck, this particular question. Why? Let me tell you. Consider the following states: Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Himachal Pradesh, Tripura. How many of the above are generally known as tea producing states? Fine. Now, a simple logic says your Assam, right, West Bengal, mostly are tea producing states. NCERT and all talks about it. Now when it comes to Kerala, Tamil Nadu in south, because of the height, tea cultivation can be observed. Not huge, but can be observed. Now, if you look at tea board, right, tea board says Andhra Pradesh near Araku Valley, Himachal Pradesh and Tripura also have some tea productions. So wherever you have hills, basically, I have told you multiple times, tea is cultivated where you have the slope. Maximum is done in these two. But wherever you have mountains, there is possibility of tea cultivation, mainly because as the height increases, temperature decreases, and the slope helps in tea cultivation. Now, according to me, the answer is 2, only Kerala. The reason for this is generally known as tea producing states. So what is the meaning of generally known? Which are the places from where tea is normally grown, correct? If the question is, which are the tea growing states of India, I would say 4. Generally known as tea producing states. General commonly knowing is what? These 4. Now, which one is right and which one is wrong completely depends upon the person who has said the paper. I don't want to tell UPSC is wrong, because it's all about the language, guys. People know how to play with the language, especially UPSC. And once the answer keys are released, everyone try to come and discuss and tell, no, this was in this manner, UPSC has done a mistake. No. It's all about the language, how the paper setter would have thought, they would have given, and genuinely if you have done mistake, it's absolutely fine, because we really are not sure what UPSC has in its mind, because such factual data vary from book to book, which UPSC normally gives. Fine. And one mistake from my side, if I could have given you the list of all the dams, because I clearly mentioned 2 to 3 times in the class that dams are very, very important because of the Mulla Periyar Dam issue. If I could have given you the list, maybe it would have been very easy, but as the list is more, we thought, why to make you people by heart so much? But they gave a lot of wrong answers, and except this, rest all are actually wrong. So by this time you might be aware, even in our answers we have given what suits where, but I just want you to know this was asked mainly because, don't keep by hearting, because reservoir is very important this year, as there was huge discussion not only in India, across the world, should we really go for dams? The safety of the dams and all were always questioned. This was a wonderful question which we have discussed in the class, but not to the depth that they have asked, this is definitely an application based question. We see it as a clouds, but from environment point of view, they have gone to a greater depth and they have tried to ask you the questions. Let me just try to tell you what is the way that we explain and the language. So what has changed here is the language, not what exactly we have taught. That's it. But the concept is more or less same. You see this. When I talk about the clouds from the ground surface, let me say this is a cloud here and this is a high altitude cloud. And what does the high altitude cloud normally does? They allow sun's rays to pass easily, but they absorb Earth's radiation, because of which they lead to heating of the surface. Because radiation, Earth's radiation, if it is absorbed, it acts as greenhouse gas itself, right? So when it acts as greenhouse gas itself, then the impact will be different. So cool the surface is wrong. Fine. Low clouds, what do? They actually reflect Earth's radiation in the night and sun's radiation in the morning. As they reflect, right? So they normally lead to cooling. So this is also wrong. Both the statements are wrong. This is all about the clouds. How do they normally act? Again, UPSC has gone to basics as much as possible, guys. The problem is, if I try to teach how every cloud reacts, it becomes much more technical and students get confused. So this year, the depth to which UPSC is asking is little bit more. Wherever students who are aware about the conceptual clarities, it's easier. So I would suggest you, at least this year, prepare the way you're preparing, but try to ask yourself why and what, so it would be easier. So guys, these were some of the questions that came from geography. There are some more, which people call it environment, which people call it agriculture and all, but in this particular paper, I feel the questions are more of analysis based rather than just factual, which used to be before. So guys, try to read these aspects properly once. Fine. And leave the doubt, because there are few questions which people have doubt. If you feel, if I get 2 questions correct or 3 questions correct, I make clear. If you are in this mindset, trust me, please start preparing for your exam. And every year, you can see the previous year videos as well. When we say this may be the cutoff, people really don't trust us, but we have always been proven to be right. So from my side, I'm just trying to tell you, be confident, start preparing for mains. Don't be in a confusion. Don't talk to too many people about this, because next 3 months is crucial, whether you are giving this year attempt or next year attempt. Yes, at AKS IAS, we also teach you almost all the optionals. So we'll be starting soon. You can contact us for optionals. Mains mentorship, mostly where answer writing and all will be given to you. Please ensure you go through them properly once, guys. Thank you.